Here we go. The thing didn't do what it was supposed to do. So give me just a second here. Things are too loud. Things are too soft. We've got... No, I'm working on getting the automation down. It's getting closer, my friends. 230 days until Christmas 2022. And I'm so happy to see you all here today. Thank you so much. And I think we're going to have a fun discussion. I've already seen some fantastic comments in the chat. You guys are already killing it. As Dale Urban said, tickle the thumb. Hey, Jason, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. My Christmas is on May 27th, though, you poser.
You know.
No,
You know, that's true. That's true. It's coming. And I see Star Wars Meg has made it in. You know, this is a good point. Whoever made the background music is just a super talented individual who does nothing but make fantastic content and great merch as well. Let me just say that.
I wish you would add some 808 beats on it, though, so we could sort of like wrap the whole show. That'd be cool.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Hey, this is great. I'm really happy to have this discussion today because I read, yesterday, Mark was asking us, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. It's been the weekend. It was Mother's Day. Jason, did you do anything for Mother's Day?
Yeah, we took the vessel of my children to the Cheesecake Factory, and we put food in her face.
That's good.
Time.
That is good.
Time.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. Let's
Yeah?
just leave it there.
Okay.
I'm an idiot.
Was it pizza? Was it pizza from the pizza place?
Look, I've been married 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
You would think you would learn things.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
We have two.
You have two?
We have a 31 and a 21.
How many Mother's Days do you need? Right? I mean, come on. I mean, you give her 35 kids? I mean, come on.
So I made the mistake. Like this is advice for our young people out there. When you get married and you have that first kid, and the kid is like, 6 months old, and Mother's Day rolls around, it is your job. It is your job to make sure that mom gets a Mother's Day. You're like, well, you're not my mom. It doesn't matter. She's your children's mom. So do not screw that up. Don't do it. It is it's a bad thing. Look, I made that mistake when I was 20 years old. I was in my 20s. I was like 24. And I made that mistake. I'm life advice here from Santa. Don't do that. Don't do that. The other thing.
Hold on, I'm writing this down. This is good stuff.
It is good stuff. It is. The other thing. This is yesterday's mistake. Hey, hun, do you want to work at moving stuff out of the house and loading it in the truck and taking it places and unload it and do all that? That'd be great, right? And not on Mother's Day. Not good.
You should message me and ask me if what you're saying is smart, and I'll tell you. I'll help you out.
Not smart.
I don't know what I'm doing either, but I think together we can crack this.
Not smart.
Yeah.
That was a tactical mistake.
Star Wars only showed us two moms. One was picking mushrooms to have a good party on the weekend, and Tusken Raiders killed her. And then the other one just died of a broken heart. So we don't really have a frame of reference for most
Well, that's
of the stuff.
true.
Yeah,
that is
sorry.
100% true. I mean, how many characters in Star Wars bring their moms a gift for Mother's Day?
Yeah.
You know?
It doesn't happen. It
I
doesn't
don't.
happen.
Yeah, Yaddy, you're not wrong. Big mistake. Yes, Jake. I was not on the good list. Are you on the nice list I was not on the nice list yesterday.
No.
Oh, it was a rough afternoon. I'm just saying, it did not go well. But yesterday, as I was unwinding and spending time by myself, because that's what happens when you're that stupid. When you're that stupid, you get to spend alone time, whether you want to or not. So I found this article on Forbes, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where you ended up. We ended up on Forbes. That's how bad it.
That's how bad.
Yeah, Ronnie, I'm not good at this trimming stuff, and I was using my electric razor, and I was like trimming up, and the battery was dying, and it like got low on battery, and it like pulled. It got like, Kurr!
Ouch.
And I was like, ow! And then I had this like patch, and I was like, well, it's time to go back to Babyface J. That's what they call me on the streets. And so now they could find me from my mugshots.
There you go. Yes. Fitz says Mother's Day. That was like 2 months ago in Ireland. Here in the United States, it was yesterday. So
yeah. Don't you guys have Hallmark? Come on.
Yeah. Even Meg nailed it on Mother's Day. I remember when it happened over there in the UK. She's like, "Oh, it's Mother's Day. We're getting together." We did that too. We got together with my dad to help remember my mom since she passed back in 2017, and we wanted to spend some time, just kind of having fond memories of my mother and loop Dad in so he's not alone, and then took my wife to dinner and our daughter, and we had a good time. But
do you have any funny memories of your mom where you guys all collectively messed up and made her mad, but it was funny?
No.
Like we're now it's no okay.
Oh no. I there were times where I got my butt beat really good, and I got smacked really good a couple times.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was really, again, I'm not a smart guy. I'm not a smart man, as Forrest would say. I'm not a smart man.
I'm not a smart man.
No.
I was running.
Well, that did happen. So we were in West Virginia, and I did something stupid. And my mom was going to give me a beating. So I decided to run. I'm running for it. Well, that didn't work out. I made it to the chicken coop, and I was diving under the chicken coop. She grabbed my leg, pulled me out, and then chased me in circles, whooping me really good.
My stepmom was not a fit woman. And she started chasing me down the street one time, but I'm like 16. So she's chasing me. Everybody on the street's looking at me, and I'm doing this. I'm like dancing around her and stuff and running around. It wasn't a good idea though. You do eventually have to go home, but that's how I ended up here on YouTube.
Well, Yeah. And then there was a time in high school when I decided to talk back to Mom. I was, I'm a teenager. I know better. I don't have to put up with your nonsense. I can tell you what. Yeah, that didn't go well either.
Hair in places that you ain't ever seen before. Come on.
Right. Right. And so she went to hit me, and then I blocked. You shouldn't have blocked. I should have just let it, because I got more beatings because I blocked it rather than just taking the one I would have gotten.
Well, in fun stories of abuse, also to go with my punk rock nature, my mom one time, my biological mother's like, go get a Switch. But I had heard a story about how if you get the Switch and it has any things on it, it will scratch you. But I'm in my head, I'm like Rambo. I'm tough. I can take this. Let's turn this around. So I went and got the one that would scratch me, so I could go, you made me bleed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So looking back on it, I actually wasn't traumatized, believe it or not, because I would just had that little dirt spirit. But yeah,
I remember when, as a young kid, you bring up the go get your Switch, right? So. We moved a bit when I was a kid. We had a house burned down. We had all kinds of different things happen. And so we moved around a bit. Okay. And when we went to one of the schools that I went to early on in the year, a kid got in trouble. And the teacher said, I want you to go out there and get a Switch. Sent the kid out. He had to go up the hill. It was in West Virginia. He had to go up the hill, get a Switch. It is the same sort of rule. You get one too small, it's not going to go well. You get one too big, it's finding that right in between. Right, you got to find the twig that's the right size to get the beating that is sufficient for the crime. That's just.
I was about to make the joke that Ronnie did. I was like, and I learned from my parents' mistakes, and now I tell my kids to get the Switch so we can play Super Mario.
Yeah.
Whole different world. Thank you.
Well, so yeah. They bring up the Moon Knight thing. So Kayla called me over the weekend, and her boyfriend, she was telling a story about him being stupid. You know, men, we're stupid. That's what it is.
Sure. No excuses, but it's a truth.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so she said he chose violence, right? So he he could have been smart, but no, he chose violence. I said, you know, this happened when you girls were growing up too. There'd be times when I'd say, make the smart choice, but no, we can't make the smart choice. We're going to make mom mad. We'd much rather fight with mom than do the smart thing. So that's
yeah. Well, I'll round this out with just one little wholesome one. About it was like the day before Mother's Day, and me and my grandfather and my cousin. I'm like 9 years old. You couldn't buy Star Wars toys anywhere. Star Wars that's like 1988, 89. Star Wars toys are gone. So we would go to antique stores and secondhand stores where you could find that kind of stuff. And we had a day. My grandfather was super cool about like going out trying to find stuff. They like making a day of that kind of thing. So that's what we would do. That was like our little family grandfather and cousin thing that we would do together. And we go out, and then we're like really hungry at the end of the day. We're like, let's go to Norm's. So we go to Norm's. We eat. We have a really good day. And as we walk in, we got Star Wars toys. It's a bunch of Star Wars toys with no weapons, spaceships with no doors and hatches. It's just you know.
Yeah.
But I'm a kid, so I'm like, yeah,
sure.
And we go in, and my grandmother has the whole table set. And my grandfather looks at us like, please just sit down and just pretend to eat. Like I could tell that's it. But I hadn't put it together yet. And I'm like putting it together. And my little cousin goes, sorry, Grandma, you're too late. We already ate. And she was pretty mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of cold shoulders that night, but that was.
Oh, yeah. So to turn it on the other, the flip of that is my mom was my biggest cheerleader in life. Everything I did was the best. As a musician, in high school, and I did get a full tuition scholarship in music to college, so I was good. But she was convinced I was going to be a superstar, just because anything I wanted to do, I was going to be the best. And that's my mom. She was just always championing all of us, my brothers and I. She was just awesome, really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, upholding high standards is important in the right way, though.
Yeah. So anyhow, I was reading this Forbes article.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
One of the show.
And it says, look, the article is what it is. But it raised a couple of good points that I thought we could leverage for a discussion. And it says Disney's Obi-Wan is set to resolve a lingering Star Wars plot hole. Now, folks, every time something doesn't necessarily make sense doesn't mean it's a plot hole. It's a lingering question. I like to say it's a lingering question. It's not necessarily a plot hole.
Right.
And so as I was reading through this, here's the question that spurned the discussion for today. I'll be enlarge this so everybody can read it. It says George Lucas's desire to echo the original trilogy resulted in the prequels establishing Tatooine as Darth Vader's home planet and Kenobi's dusty robes as official Jedi uniform. This opened a hilarious plot hole that fans twist themselves into knots to explain or simply poke fun at, right? Why did Obi-Wan hide baby Luke on Darth Vader's home planet? And why didn't a brother change her last name? And why would he wear clothes that mark him as a Jedi? So these are great questions that have existed since the beginning of time, since the beginning of Star Wars, right? Why put Luke on Tatooine and not change his last name? Well, you can ask those questions. The real answer is because when Star Wars came out in 1977, right?
Yeah.
Vader was not Luke's dad. And his name was Darth, right? So he had a name, Darth, last name, Vader. He was not Anakin Skywalker. And the biggest change then, and it worked really, really well, right? As far as, no, I am your father, right? And then the whole from a certain point of view comes up, right? So Obi-Wan, you have to retcon it to make Obi-Wan lie to Luke is sort of the in-universe reason, right?
Yeah.
The real reason is George Lucas didn't have the whole thing plotted out the way that it played out on film, right?
I mean, they were so far behind on some of those stuff during the production of the film. It wasn't. They did all the location shooting, and his name was Starkiller.
Right.
All during that stuff. It wasn't until they got back to Elstree Studios that they changed it to Skywalker. That's how close all of that stuff was coming together on that film.
Yeah.
But one of the other things, like I remember when the prequels were coming out, and we saw Qui-Gon Jinn's robes and all the like the Obi-Wan Kenobi inspired Jedi outfits, and I remember looking at it, and my first reaction was, oh, okay, so the Jedi dress humbly. That was what I thought. Yeah. Because Uncle Owen's wearing the same clothes that Obi-Wan Kenobi essentially is when you get down to it. Like it's not that different. Now, as we've gone on, the visual language of Star Wars has developed over the years. And like we see like when Obi-Wan Kenobi is now literally wearing this pretty much the alternate clothes to Uncle Owen. And that's his I'm in disguise and not being a Jedi. Don't look for Jedi here, everybody. But I mean, I do think that that is the design, the aesthetics like intention is that Jedi don't have possession. They don't have wives. They don't have children. They barely have nice clothes. They're just wearing basic robes.
Yeah.
Like monks.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of where they're going with it. Yeah. And so to call it a plot hole is, in my opinion, a bit hyperbolic.
Yeah, that's why I say every time somebody finds something that you can raise a question out of doesn't mean it's a plot hole. It just means it's an unresolved question. Why did Kenobi take Luke to Tatooine? Mm-hmm. Because that's where his aunt and uncle were. Right? That's the in-universe, right? Why didn't they rename him Luke Lars? Right? Like Leia became Leia Organa, right? Yeah. So why didn't they rename Luke when he was adopted by his aunt and uncle?
We should, I mean, if we explore that for like a second, though. Yeah. And we look at the not what I mean. If we're going to go with what they always intended, that goes out the door in 1982.
Right.
Like what they always intended. Like that's how far back. That's when that begins. You either have been with Star Wars post 82 or you're not.
There you go.
And if you are, so we need to like go. But basically what ends up happening is Anakin Skywalker sees Luke Skywalker being murdered by the Emperor, the guy who killed his life and his wife and his family and his Jedi friends, everything about it. And when he sees Luke Skywalker, that's when he remembers the man he used to be, that he was Anakin Skywalker. So you could take it in universe now as keeping that last name and him being Luke Skywalker. The Emperor calling him young Skywalker is literally a reminder over and over about who he used to be. So psychologically, if you want to get into like splitting hairs, it's kind of important. It actually does have story meaning in the end that isn't just stupidity. Realistically, it's stupid.
Right.
Realistically, lots of things in Star Wars are stupid. Most things in Star Wars are actually stupid.
Yes.
Realistically.
Yes. That's where else I wanted to go with this conversation as well. And Ducky, really good. The power of reverse psychology. Oh, It's like you escape jail. Where are you going to run? I'll go home. They'll never think to look for me there.
Yeah.
That's the last place. Well, that's the first place they go.
Yeah. Although, not to get too dark, but I listen to a lot of true crime, and usually they look for the body really far away, deep in those forests, but usually it's just a block away. Yeah. I mean, usually that's how it goes. It's kind of weird like that. But it does work. And you know, they do set up in the Phantom Menace, like, he doesn't go back to Tatooine because he has a bad time there. His mom dies there and he doesn't want to go back. You know what I mean? People underestimate the power of mommy and Anakin Skywalker. That's important.
They kind of do. So I've been reading the Queen's trilogy novels. Mm-hmm. So Queen's Gambit, Queen's Hope, Queen's
A Night at the Opera, A Day at the Races, great
Queen's
records.
Shadow. So
Queen 2's my favorite, the best record ever, by the way.
Ogre
Battle.
no argument there. No argument there. That's truth. But no,
Sorry.
no. So it's Queen's Gambit aligns with the Phantom Menace, and then you get Queen's Shadow and Queen's Hope that happen around the Attack of the Clones. One just before, one just after, and interesting through that series. Another question comes up as you watch the prequels. Okay. Is why didn't Anakin go back to get his mom over all those years, right? He had years and years and years to go back to Tatooine, find his mom, rescue her from slavery, whatnot, right? So he doesn't seem in the prequels to go back until she's dying, like out of mind, right? Out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. But apparently one of the reasons that he is so emotionally distraught is because of his mama, right? He's got mommy issues, and he doesn't go back. So it's a question. It's an unresolved question. It's not not a plot hole. Just
no.
Why didn't he go back if she's so important to his life?
Yeah, I always felt like that question is answered in Attack of the Clones. I mean, he's not supposed to, he's like literally in the conversation with Padme. He's like, we're not supposed to have any attachment. Therefore, sending him back just to save his mother. Well, everybody's mother needs saving in the galaxy. Saving his mother, who, and by the way, his mother is doing fine. We don't know though, too, if maybe they did do a check on. They probably didn't realistically in terms of the story, but she does end up okay. She's with a one-legged man living on a farm. She's in love, man.
Yeah,
I mean, she does end up okay, but it's not until he starts to have those visions that it becomes a problem, and he starts to have he has the mother attachment because he was with her for too long in terms of the Jedi methodology.
Yeah, good job, Matt. Good job of tying into the theme of the show today. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the Queen's novels, an interesting thing happens. So they explore some of these questions, and one thing we find out through those novels is Padme then has this pet project of hers to free the slaves on Tatooine. But she can't free all of them as a young senator. She doesn't have the sway to be able to get the Republic to go and enforce anti-slavery on Tatooine. Okay. Right. So she just doesn't have that sort of political power. So what she does do is she buys slaves from slavery and frees them, and which is a thing that happened here in the United States.
I own you. Goodbye. I own you. Goodbye.
Right. There were people in the North who would go buy slaves and then free them. Right. They would that was how they were kind of dealing with the slavery issue. From a human rights perspective, to free these people who were enslaved.
I wonder if that was just made a treadmill though, where they're like, well, we got money now, we'll buy more.
Yes.
You know, in the end, if that was, I mean, better than nothing, of course.
It does, but, and the way you had to look at it is, well, I made life better for that one.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it did help perpetuate, and they even address it in those Queen's novels, where they realize, well, buying these slaves only allows them to buy more slaves, and it's not going to end slavery, but all we can do is try to improve things for the ones that we can. Yeah. We'll do what we can. And one of the things that Padme does is she goes and she tries to find Shmi, and she purposely wants to free Shmi, and she can never find her. Okay. But she ends up freeing a bunch of others. And you learn relatively early on, after Anakin goes to the Jedi Order, Klieg Lars gets into a high stakes wager with Watto, right? And he wins Shmi because he had already fallen in love with her, all this. So he just wanted to have Shmi as his wife. So he gets into this high stakes game with Watto. He wins Shmi. And so that begins, and we saw this in the prequels as well, right? She got married and all of that, but it happens relatively early on, and we learned that Shmi was actually very, very adept with technology. Right? So she was really good at programming, at like droid stuff. So Anakin building 3PO was sort of like a home project, right? A homeschooling where Shmi was teaching Anakin how to assemble droids and program droids and so on. So when she is freed, one of the things that she becomes really involved in is removing this chip that slaves always have, right? They always have this fear of having their noggins exploded, right? So
do you remember the emphasis? Were you online during the prequel era? Like, were you following along back then?
no.
We used to talk a lot about this idea that chip was put into Anakin, and that they were going to somehow activate it during the fight to save Obi-Wan, and that was going to blow him apart, and that was how he was going to end up like maybe that was the robot, you know. Will Reva appear? Will Kenobi appear in the Reva series? No. Kenobi doesn't. When the show was starting today, by the way, the theme song, I was hearing Reva takes time, eat some gold. I don't know. Reva eat some gold. That's what the theme song sounds like.
So in the book, and I saw Jedi Mike. No spoilers, please. Here's what I'll do. I'll put the spoiler warning up, and then I will take it down when we're done talking. Right. So just for the purpose of this, so you guys know, we're going to talk some spoilers from Queen's Hope.
Okay.
Right. Queen's Hope ends up that Shmi finds a way to detect and remove these chips. Right. So Shmi invents a scanner that can find them, and an extraction method. But it's fraught with errors, and because the chips get smarter every time they're defeated, they kind of reroute and they try to figure it out. And so you'd end up killing people by trying to remove the chip because it would explode. Right.
We had a girl in my old neighborhood who had one of the guns, so you could take the tags off if you stole stuff from the store.
Yes.
And a lot of the girls used to go to her and they give her like a couple bucks and she would remove the tags. Shmi. Neighborhood
yes.
Shmi.
Yeah, so she was going and removing these chips from slaves. And every now and then they would die, which was really tragic. And
Shmi's just blowing people up.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of throughout the trilogy, they keep going back to Tatooine over and over again, which gets back to this topic, right? They keep going back over and over again. Because this is Padme's kind of pet project. Mm-hmm. Padme's going back. She's sending her handmaidens back. They're going all the time, and she's always checking on this project. Hey, how many have we freed? And updating. And at the very, very end of Queen's Hope, her handmaiden, one of the primary ones that goes back to Tatooine with her boyfriend to live out her life there. Right. Okay. So it's like, why they don't go back to Naboo where they're from. They go to Tatooine.
Yeah, go anywhere. That's weird.
It is weird. It is weird. And it raises all kinds of questions like, okay, so Shmi was free for a long time.
Yeah.
For a good period of time. And Anakin still doesn't go back. Right. And it's just, again, not a plot hole. Right. There are ways to work it out. But what I wanted to get to, and we were talking about a little before, and you already mentioned it a bit as well. There comes a time with Star Wars where you have to decide, I'm going to accept this as the story or I'm not. Yeah. Right. Like Anakin went back because the story, right? Not because necessarily it makes sense or not because everything fits together. Luke Skywalker is put on Tatooine, not because necessarily that's the smartest thing to do, but that's just the way that it is. right? The prequels don't necessarily, like, going all the way back to the original trilogy. And I've made this point before. Look, Luke, people want to put George Lucas on a pedestal like he made no mistakes. That's not true. It's not true.
No. Have you ever seen that flannel he wears every day?
And it started with retconning Luke and Anakin, right? Like Anakin and Vader, where Vader killed Anakin. It started with that. Had he made that decision before A New Hope, then Luke could have been Luke Lars. Probably would have been Luke Lars, because they didn't want to give that away. And they may have come from a different planet, not Tatooine, right? So he ended up with this point where, as the Forbes article said, they came to, for nostalgic reasons, he went back to Tatooine to have Anakin from there, and so the story goes. It would not have necessarily been the decision had the whole thing been carefully plotted out from beginning to end. But
why not do that work today? Why not write or have a moment where Owen tells Luke, "Look, your father was a navigator on a spice freighter. He's a criminal. He's a Skywalker. He's wanted. Don't say anything. So if a stormtrooper stop you, you're Luke Lars."
Yeah. Well,
but at the same time, with the prequels, a Skywalker does live on that farm.
So I want to ask this question. We'll go here. We'll go here in just 1 second. Luke Lars sounds like a Marvel character. I was going to say he sounds like a Superman character, right? You got Lois Lane, you got Lana Lang, you got Lex Luthor, you got Luke Lars.
Yeah. Luke Lars Ulrich. That's his full name.
So anyhow, could the Kenobi show answer, or at least resolve in some way, many of these questions? So there are some people out there kind of spinning this into a negative. Oh, we've got terrible things going on and I hate it. I hate it. They're tweeting about it. They're writing YouTube videos about it, how much they hate these leaks and the news coming out of these leaks. But could we decide instead to make it work, much like we do with the original trilogy, the prequels, and for those who are coming into it, the sequels? Could we make it work? Does it have the opportunity to help resolve some of these questions? Why doesn't Vader look for Kenobi on Tatooine? Or why doesn't he look for Luke? He doesn't know of Luke, of course, but if he had heard of Luke Skywalker, why doesn't he put one and one together? Like, why doesn't he go back to Tatooine to look for anything? And so people have these stories about, oh, sand is rough. I've got these terrible memories, blah, 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 right? They work that out. Could Reva help with this?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would say just really quickly, though, like to bring it to Owen for a second. I guess I'm your stepbrother. What are you gonna? I mean, like that's like meeting a second cousin at a family reunion, and then if your whole family gets wiped out, do you go find that second cousin at a family reunion? You're just like, no,
right?
I mean, I guess I'm your stepbrother, or that's not really somebody that you're gonna go back to visit. I mean, in my opinion,
right?
And they don't have any moments together. They're there at the funeral of his mom, and not necessarily a good time. It's not really. I don't think they have a connection. So that's the answer. They don't have a connection.
And he has no other reason to go back to Tatooine.
Yeah,
his mom's dead.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Go mess up Watto, punch Watto in the stomach? Watto's probably dead by that time anyway.
Right.
So
right. Well, he becomes some of the concerns about the Kenobi series is that Vader learns that Kenobi's alive. He learns that he's out there, and and I better put the spoiler thing up again. So anybody that doesn't want spoilers for Kenobi, here we go. I put the warning up. One of the things is that at the end of the second episode, Vader, Anakin, senses Kenobi, right? His eyeball pops open, and then the hunt is on, right?
It's like this. Like this.
Right. So he senses Kenobi, right? And you go back to the original trilogy. Ooh, this is a presence I've not felt since, well, apparently sometime in here, right? Here we go. Ducky, $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ducky. Isn't there a side story or lake? Lake is not the word. I got to figure out what the word
Oasis?
is. About an ancient Sith temple on Tatooine that makes it hard since Force users. Well, there's been some speculation about Tatooine having something that helps hide it, but in canon, no such thing exists, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Matt, this is most people look. He despises it. There's no reason to go back there. All of that, but he senses once he senses Kenobi after episode 2 of the series, and the hunt is on. Why does he stop the hunt, or why doesn't he go looking for him and at least revisit the places where the Inquisitors have been going? Especially since Reva is going to say, "Hey, I found this dude. I told you." Right, and we've got a bit of a sibling rivalry going on between the Inquisitors, right? The brothers and sisters. They're a bit of a sibling rivalry. I'm better than you are. No, you're not. I'll prove it. And they find Kenobi. And with this ending that you leaked as well, we know Reva comes back and tells Vader, "Oh, I killed him." And Vader ain't buying it. He ain't buying it.
No,
right?
He's not.
So why doesn't he go back to Tatooine to look for him? Since the Inquisitors have gone there a few times.
Well, when it comes to this thing, is that number one, we haven't seen the series, we haven't seen how it all plays out. I have a theory though that when Darth Vader goes after Obi-Wan the first time, he's very much in control, but the second time, Obi-Wan Kenobi's got his mojo back. He's remembered everything he can about Anakin. And he goes in, and I think he kind of, and Qui-Gon's in his ear, being his wingman, being his Mickey from Rocky, and telling him to stick and move, little Mac, like it's Punch Out. And he's, going in there, and if he beats the crap out of him, by the end of it, Darth Vader is not going to be like, well, let's go back for round 3 right now. I'm not saying that he doesn't want round 3. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I think he's like, I have a little bit of work to do. I'm not. So when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Because what he ends up doing, I believe, is, and from what I've heard from people who worked on the show, what they think that the direction was, is that he's then going to go start analyzing their fight and thinking, I'm going to do this back to you. And he's going to go back and fight him for round 3 with might makes right. But he's completely off base because the Jedi have ascended to something even higher that the Sith never can. And that's via hope. You know what I mean? And they can't get it. And so Obi-Wan's playing 4D chess at this point, brother. And he's still trying to do the old game. So when they meet on the Death Star, finally, he thinks this is going to be it. I'm going to tear you up. And he's just like, nope, hit me. I'm gone before you can even hit me, Batman. And he's gone.
Yes.
So that's I think where the psychology will fall. But we will have people literally cutting off creativity and their brains to be like, what is this going on? Click on my videos and give me super chats. That's going to be the game. So don't fall for it. Don't be as dumb as they are.
Yes. In the next 12 hours, that's going to happen.
Oh, so that's calling somebody out.
I'm just saying, it's going to happen. It's already happened, right? And people are already monetizing the rage. But off of, I've heard this, and I'm mad. Yeah, and as
Yeah.
Matt Risman, I'm offended on their behalf. That's what we must do if we're going to be united in the fandom. If somebody's mad, we all got to be mad
I gotta be
that's
mad.
they're mad.
If somebody's
So
dumb, we all gotta be dumb.
yes, exactly. Hey, I choose to make it work. I've had to
Yeah.
do that since the very beginning,
Well,
and
it's like a date, Santa. It's like a date. You know, you go on a date and then somebody's like, "Oh, you know what? I like eating raw onions for fun," and you're like, "Well, can I take the rest of this? And can I accept that? Or do I throw the whole thing out?"
yeah,
You got to go on. You got to go on the journey before you start throwing the whole thing out. But unfortunately, that's not where the super chat money is.
it's not. It's not. And
It's you got to cancel the date before you even go on it.
exactly. And with this ending, when she goes back and says, I took care of him," at least she's trying to cover the and the other thing is, as you shared, again, spoiler warnings here, she figures it out, right? She figures out Luke and Leia, and they're hiding them on purpose. There must be some reason they're hiding these kiddos. That's the secret. And then she keeps that secret. So one of the reasons you have to put in another character to fill the story, and you can't just make this about Kenobi and Vader. You don't have 6 episodes of just Kenobi and Vader. What are you going to do? Right? Vader can't figure it out. Vader can't be chasing him onto Tatooine. Vader can't be doing a lot of the, following Kenobi around or Kenobi following Vader around, because it breaks a lot of the other story that's already been established for Vader. You've already put guardrails on that story. That you can work within the guardrails, but it limits you. It limits you significantly. And if you're going to have this tension, right? There has to be something that builds up the tension. Now, for folks that already know the story, they've seen all the leaks. The tension won't be as great, but you want to build that tension up, and you want to have there be some sort of consequence, right? Like, oh no, somebody figured it out. This could blow the whole plan up, right? Like you need that, and it can't be Vader. So
Well, I watched Denna Nerd's video about this where he was freaking out, and in that video, that dude's like basically is telling us what the series is, but he's just decided what the series is. Like the series is this series is. I'm not quoting him verbatim, so forgive me for that. But he's like, the series about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. No, that's just what you said. They just say that you have a fight. The series is not about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, actually. The series is about Obi-Wan Kenobi finding hope again. That's where you completely just miss the mark 100%, and haven't collectively taken all of the leaks I've released and put them together efficiently. And maybe that's my fault as a writer. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe you're just taking each thing as its own thing and then jumping off like, your head cut off from there. But that's not actually like what the series is. The series is not about Darth Vader. Darth Vader literally, his character progression in the series is maybe something that you could be criticizing, because he can't have any. There is no way Darth Vader can become good again. There's no redemption for Darth Vader. All he can do is get more PO'd. At the end of the day, that's it. There's nowhere to go.
Yes.
For Darth Vader. So you have to have other villains who then have character progression. If you only have one character in a story who was changed by the end of it, you don't have a successful story. Right. Everyone involved, for the most part, should be transformed in some way, unless it's to be resolved later, which is Darth Vader. Yes. Therefore, I even laid out how Uncle Owen, in his own way, gives Luke Skywalker a toy that Obi-Wan left out for him that he didn't let him have. He took it from him, said, no, you can't have this because it's from that guy, and he's a jerk. And at the end, he gives it, which is Owen's cold-hearted way, and his little black heart of going like, here's one. I love you, kid. And he's not. He sucks, but he's not that bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's character, that is progression. We started with no toys. We hate that guy. With here, you could at least have the toy. And we could only do these micro progressions in these stories because they of what the story is. And so yeah, I Josh, Den of Nerds dude. What's going on, buddy? Let's talk.
Well, I mean, Sheev gets it. Sheev gets it, right? He's making a living, right?
Yeah.
You want to make a living? There's a way to make a living, and he's that's what he's doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm clearly bad at this, so
Me
whatever
too.
he's doing is working for him.
it is working for him.
But boy, I got to sleep at night. I got to tell the truth.
Well, that's me, right? And the reason I started the channel wasn't to make a living on it. It's to be able to express like maybe some reason, right? And from somebody who has criticisms, I have got criticisms of the of all three trilogies, right? But I choose to make it work, right? I choose to accept the reasons and move with it. In some cases, I can't, right? Some cases I still struggle with it. Other like Padme dying of sadness, right? That still just bothers me. Some story decisions that George Lucas made still bother me.
Sure.
I'm still of the opinion in the original trilogy that to make the love triangle work and to carry that story more thoroughly would have had stuck with the original and had Luke's sister be Nelith, who's in another part of the galaxy. We don't learn of her until the end, and that becomes the sequel trilogy. I still favor that, and I would have preferred Leia be Senator Organa's daughter.
Yeah.
And she could have been force sensitive. She still could have been, they still could have had this connection, and it could have been because of their affection for one another. You got this love triangle between Leia, Luke, and Han, right? And she ultimately chooses Han. Nothing has to change that way. It's just that Luke is her old boyfriend, not her new boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
And it works out a lot better rather than this, do you remember your mother? And it's his mother. And like, it makes my head hurt, right? I hate it. But I choose overall to be, okay, well, that's the story that George Lucas told. It is what it is. Let's move on. And with this Kenobi series, I'm not choosing to read every leak as somehow destroying my childhood and ruining the story.
Yeah.
Right? I can see where you can take the story further with introducing new characters. And those new characters don't need to be established characters that we've visited over and over and over again. I'm gonna pick on Meg for just a little bit. I'm not gonna go hard on her, but I'm just gonna.
You're not talking to trash on Mace.
No, I love her. She's my.
Right now. I'm Mace Windu. Meg, talk all trash you want to make.
I love
coming with that fancy accent of hers. She's better than me.
I love Meg so much, but there's a theory out there that Din Djarin and Ezra Bridger are brothers, or at least maybe half brothers or something like that. I hate it.
Isn't Ezra Middle Eastern though? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, I believe Ezra is like supposed to be of Middle Eastern descent in terms of our Earth logic,
right?
And he is a Latino man, so it's like I don't really think that really works.
Right. They are. You wait. Well, you wait, Meg. Wait until they're not. Nah. No, just like I love her so much. She is like the best for me. I love her so much, and we can disagree about these theories. I just hate the idea of everybody being related to everybody. And why can't Din and Ezra be completely distinct people from different families who have similarities? Right? They have similarities. Luke and Leia could have had similarities. But not been brother and sister.
Well, here's the whole thing though, is that like we've seen Ezra's parents in canon. We've seen Din's parents in canon. They're not the same people.
Oh, but Meg would differ with you.
So they just like, well, we lost that one in the Clone Wars. We'll go podcast with this one.
She'd say that Din's parents were modeled directly after Ezra's parents. and they purposely look the same.
I don't see it. I don't see it,
she's-
Meg.
Ah,
see it.
she's got a whole video on it. She's got,
I missed that one.
It was-
I'm gonna watch it, and then I'm still not gonna see it.
there you go. There you go.
I'm still gonna watch it and like it because I like Meg.
I do too. I love her. I love her so much. But I think that when you look at adding a new character, it doesn't bother me that we get a brand new character that's not already been established. Not everything has to tie into somebody else's family. Not everything has to tie back into something original or from the original trilogy or the prequels. It can be a brand spanking new character, and that the character is male or female or straight or bi or any kind of gender assignment or race or ethnicity or gender. None of that bothers me.
Yeah.
I could care less. I could care less that Reva is a African American black female. That doesn't bother me at all. If she's straight or gay, doesn't bother me. I don't care. I honestly don't care. Just give me a great story. And I don't care that the reason maybe that Lucasfilm or Disney, whatever, hired a black woman for this role. The reason they did it may have been for publicity, for
but I went down to the local community college and I enrolled, and when I got the course booklet, it had a white guy on it, it had a black woman on it, it had an Asian guy on it, and it had a Latino guy on it, and then I went to that school and I got all C's. And now I hate forced diversity more than anything, and they're putting it in my Star Wars, and I can't take it.
right.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It is.
It's really it is because what's weird about it is that they will focus on what they will focus on is telling. That's we can leave it at that.
I agree.
Why weren't they? Why wouldn't you focus on Nari when I had the Nari leaks? Why weren't you saying, "Oh, the whole first episode's the Nari show"? Where's the Nari? Put a bait and switch with, because honestly, it feels, I could be completely wrong. I don't know how much time people are on screen. I'm not sitting there with a stopwatch going like that. I haven't seen it either.
Right.
So I don't know, but Nari has more story elements in the first episode than anything.
Yes.
And they're not saying that about Nari. Why? Because it doesn't dog whistle the people that get offended by black women. That's just the truth of the situation. It sucks.
It
Many
is.
People don't even realize that
is.
they hold those feelings. But I've seen it. I mean, there were comments on it over the weekend on the videos that were really sucky, really embarrassingly sucky. I won't read them.
Well, I just want to say, is there a story reason for adding a new character? That's all I care about. Is there a story reason for adding a new character? I don't care what that character is, but there is. So if the character's being added for the sake of diversity, not a story reason, there's a problem. If the character is being added for a story reason and they happen to be a diversity cast, or maybe it's not even happen to be, they are a diversity cast for that reason, as long as the root reason is to add a character for the story, then the rest of the decision makes no difference to me, right? Yeah. So if you're just saying, well, we've got a new show coming out, and this new show needs to have, and you got a line of diversity things to check off the list, and so you back into it from that, well, that's not good. That's not good. But if you can say, hey, we need a character to help push this story forward in this way, to be able to explore different themes within the series. And you say, yes, okay, great. Now let's go cast it. And you're doing it for diversity reasons. Who cares? Who cares? Right. I get the argument. Look, I've shared before. I am a conservative. I'm a Republican, and I generally don't like forced diversity as a thing. It bothers me from that perspective. But as far as like going into a science fiction or space fantasy or any kind of series, and I'm watching something produced by a big media company, I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they're doing it, and I just have to go with it. I can't change that, regardless what my personal beliefs are, as long as the story. Again, as long as the story says, "Hey, we need a new character for this purpose,"
Well,
I'm good with the rest of it.
One thing that the people who like to push that, and let's take it back and just to dropping all of that jazz and just looking at it for what the actual forced diversity project has been. I know this is 100% true, what I'm about to say, because people in the company were telling me this to my face. And when they bought Star Wars in 2012, Star Wars had maximized its fan base of white dudes. They had capped out, there was no growth. And as we know, in capitalism, you always have to have growth. If you're not growing, you are literally dying. That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
And so what they ended up looking at was Hunger Games, and they said that's our low-hanging fruit. That's who we have to get. We have to get those Hunger Games girls into Star Wars. If we do that, we will grow Star Wars beyond where it's ever been. And so that's when they ended up, that was the actual like project, if you will. That was the project to make Star Wars grow. And without it, Star Wars doesn't grow, and it doesn't really get as profitable as they were able to make it. So people look at what Phantom Menace was doing in 3D. It was bringing in change at that point, and they had, like I said, they had maximized everything, and they weren't to a point yet where the newer audience that they were sort of cultivating with the Clone Wars and stuff like that. Those kids weren't big enough yet to be prominent consumers in the market. So it was let's go after women.
Yeah.
Let's get women into like Star Wars, and that's what happened. But if you want to look at it, they're looking at it as if it's this like SJW project. Oh no, it's the most capitalistic. SJW stuff has nothing to actually do with that project.
Well,
it has to do with pure numbers.
Yeah, and I agree with Nikki. Like, if you've got a good character, I'm going to like your character because it's a good character. I don't care if it's all the diversity stuff. Yeah. If you've got a bad character, I'm going to say it's a bad character because I don't care about the diversity stuff. And being bold enough to say I dislike this character because of these reasons, not because they're male, female, right? I don't, because it's a diversity hire. I don't care. Martin made the point. Is this a good actress? Is this a good actor? Is this a good story? Is it well written? That's all that matters to me. That's all that matters. And I'm not going to get my head all in a twist because, they added a new character because of diversity. No. Did they add the character because of story? What I'm hearing when I read these leaks and when I talk to you and others is, this was added before story. We were too contained within the guardrails of just being Kenobi and Vader. We want to tell a story that has character arc progression. We got a story that explores themes that, maybe you could have done with just Kenobi and Vader, but we wanted to reach outside of that, right? And we wanted to be able to grow the franchise, not stick within the guardrails in the current consumer base that we already have. We want to grow this franchise. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. Yes, I know there are dog whistles. And for anybody not familiar with what a dog whistle is, it's like saying something that will attract people for the wrong reason, right? So, you're saying things that are racist or that can be leveraged by racists or these other people, right? So you're saying something that supports their argument while at the same time saying, "Oh, I'm not saying that," except that's what you are saying, right? Yeah. And so you need to be careful about that dog whistling bit, and it's the way it is. So I understand.
If it's on accident, it might be on accident. It might be. It's probably not, but it might be. But if you're accidentally dog whistling, you need to stop.
Oh yeah, you need to call them out, right? Yeah. You do need to call them out. And as Nikki's saying, it's not if it's true for most fans, that's fine. And there are gross people, there are terrible people who latch onto it, and in that case, you need to be able to call them out and say, look, these people are idiots, right? And I give credit to Theory for doing that on their Nerd Theory a couple weeks ago when he was saying, "Hey, stop with the racist nonsense." Right?
Did he ban him? Did he ban the racist?
Oh, I don't know. I think he has mods who take care of that
I
stuff.
hope they did because
I don't know. Uh-oh. Jason froze. Am I still here? Who's still here? Is Santa here? Jason here? Are we both gone? Who is it? Uh-oh. I'm worried. Okay, Jason's froze. Jason's froze. Santa's still here. I want to bring up a couple of other things here. Okay, Dawn says she can see. Okay, we'll just let Jason come back, and we'll add him back to the discussion. Just me now. Yeah, I see that Jason's gone. I'll add him back when he gets back. I want to bring in Meg's article from today, and I'm going to leave the spoiler warning up because we're going to keep going in and out of Kenobi leaks. And here we go. There's Jason. You're back.
When you punk.
I know. So I wanted to show Meg's video from today. Let me share this because she brought in a really fun piece. I thought this was really fun. Martin, I am not checking my email. Right? I'm not doing it. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 54 times. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it.
Always two there are. No more.
Always two.
No less.
Exactly. So Meg's video today was great. I loved it. And I wanted to bring it up and put it in this Easter egg that was found, right? So let me mute. Hold on. Mute. Let's go to full and let the ad finish. Come on. Let me get out of the ad. Meg.
I used to have the Art of Star Wars book, and in it, and the back of it, the very original one, it had like cartoons. It was like Star Wars is getting into the pop culture. Can you guys believe it? And it was like little cartoons, and had a kid who had like a colander on his head, like his mom's spaghetti strainer on his head. And every time I see these things, that's what I think of.
See, this is what Martin does to me. He lies. Mm-hmm. He says, I've sent you the Ahsoka production pic. Martin, I want to believe you so bad. Mm-hmm. This is why. Look, I'm dumb. Martin just lies all the time. He does. He does lie all the time. I don't believe him. But Meg points out an Easter egg that was brought to her attention, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit because she does a great job covering it in today's video. And here we go. We're going to get there in just 1 second. In the close-up scene, we see of Reva and the fourth sister and the Imperial. What's her name? Right here. Indira Varma.
Oh.
Yeah, just behind them here, you see some interesting pieces in the collection.
R2D2's head.
That's what I first thought. Meg, are you? Look at her. She's trying to get me to read Martin's email. I don't believe you. So anyway, she points out, look, these look like these helmets that the younglings had, right? And it looks like there's a couple of lightsabers there. That's pretty cool. I thought it was she covered this well. Like, whose lightsabers are those? What's that helmet from? Is that the one that Reva had when she was a youngling? Is it some kid that Anakin killed? Is it the kid he scared? Anything's possible. Or is it nothing? Martin, I'll send you $100 if it doesn't have the Ahsoka pic. Martin,
that's $100. I'd open that. I mean, I think that's legally binding right there.
Martin,
I think.
Okay. So there Cheeks is in it, but also something else. So let me open the image here, and I'll share this. This is good. This is really good. But he couldn't leave Cheeks out of it. Oh, she also brings up could be the Grand Inquisitor's helmet from when he was the temple guard. I don't think it looks like that either. Meg brought up it looks more like those children's helmets. So here, let me bring this. This is the picture. This is good. This is good. Ahsoka starts production today, and here you got. This is great. This is great. Very exciting. Very exciting.
It's gonna happen now.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's
But
going
Dave
into production.
Filoni got his dumb hat back, so who knows? Bad choices are already being made. I have no faith in the series now.
Oh my goodness! So, look, I love it. I think it's fun. I'm looking forward to Kenobi. I think it's got a lot of potential to resolve questions. We talked about a couple of them before, where when he says, "When I left you," right? Vader says that to Kenobi. When I left you, I was. But when we see it in the show, it's the other way around. Kenobi leaves him. He doesn't leave Kenobi. So will it put it in context where he leaves Kenobi? Let me stop this here because Meg brings up some other stuff that we also got a picture today of. Look at this. This is hilarious. This comes from a Ryan Johnson production, not Star Wars. Not a Star Wars production, but this is actually on the set, just off the set. And we had a friend on our Discord send this picture. They saw this on set while they're working there, and they took this picture and sent it to us. It's Ryan Johnson. It's a Ryan Johnson thing. I love it. I love it so much. It's just funny, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I take away the spoiler warning. I think we're out of that realm. But so anyway, go back to Meg's video from today. There was news about Taika Waititi, his film kind of getting started with the writing. One thing that I thought was interesting in this, and Meg didn't mention it, but it does tie in 100%, is that the guy doing the writing was involved in the writing with Loki. Now, we also have another talent from Loki that was brought into Star Wars. We're starting to the composer, the who did the Kenobi score. Mm-hmm. She did the score for Loki. So it looks like we're starting to we're stealing talent back and forth between the two franchises, Marvel and you have mixed it, Santa. What have I mixed? What have I mixed, Sheev? What did I mix? Let's go. I'm going back to see. I don't know what I mixed. What did I mix? I don't know. Waldron's going to write the Feige. Feige. That's what I said. Did I not say that?
That's how I heard it. But
what did I say?
Cool.
Yeah.
Michael Waldron is writing the Star Wars, the Feige Star Wars film.
Right, and he was involved with the Loki series. Yeah. So I'm just saying, Waldron was involved in Marvel, and now he's doing Star Wars. The composer, I can't remember her name, the composer for Loki came over to do Kenobi. So, Taika. Okay, I said Taika. Okay, Taika. My bad. Very good. Thanks, Sheev. Yeah, Feige, the Feige movie. My point was that we've borrowed two talents from Marvel, the Marvel studios, into Lucasfilm now, which is really cool. Under the umbrella of Disney, that they're able to use these talents that have proven themselves in writing really good stories and doing great scores and all of that. So I think that's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they're people who took on projects and excelled with them. So then they're bringing them over. They want to do Star Wars, so they're bringing them over to do Star Wars. And Waldron, I mean, his writing is pretty impressive. I actually am. I don't really care about the Marvel stuff deeply. It doesn't usually really matter to me very much. but the things that Waldron's done for Marvel that I think have been really cool. And Feige, I'm like, yeah, you're a good producer for Marvel. I don't know if that means you're good at anything else. I don't know what kind of cook you are. I don't know if you know what I mean. If that means you're good at other things outside of that, I have no idea. But you make good calls on Marvel, and
Yeah.
but it's like Feige's stuff is like, you know, it's an amount of quality over a large amount of quantity. But he's doing
Yeah.
one Star Wars film, so I don't know if that's exciting in the end or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just takes one stab. If it's a one and done kind of thing, then it's just like, okay, cool, I guess. But
Yeah.
the fact that but Waldron to me is the actual that's the exciting part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just like that we're sharing between these studios now, right? And as Mike Jokey Porter says, I love Star Wars and Marvel. So you're allowed to love both. Like Meg, she doesn't realize that yet. Meg thinks she's only allowed to like one thing. She's only allowed to like Star Wars. So she doesn't watch Lord of the Rings or Marvel. Like she only watches Star Wars. She watches nothing else. No, I kid. She, but
I I watch I know where she's coming from, because like I love going to the movies or watching a new Marvel show with my kids. But for me, those are a one and done experiences. I don't like watch them over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it the one time and I have a good time, and then I just move about my life like a normal person on like Star Wars. You know what I mean? But
right. So you shared a couple of photos with us today. I thought I would just put them on here. Look, we got Star Wars Frosted Flakes. You got the dark
Obi-Wan
side and the
Kenobi
light
cereal.
side.
Obi-Wan Kenobi Frosted Flakes. How cool is that, you weirdos?
I love it. Light side and dark side right there in the same bowl. Oh no. How do you do that? Do you have to pick them out? Like who's going to be that guy? Says, well, I can't have my
I'm biforcial.
right.
Like that's what
right.
it's called. You
I mean,
Gray Jedi? No, we're bi Jedi. That's what we're called.
Can't be having no gray Jedi Frosted Flakes. I've got to have my light side flakes separated from my dark side flakes. You can't have both at the same time. Oh.
I was telling my kids about Nintendo cereal when it had Mario and Zelda, and it would have like a skinny bag on the left and a skinny bag on the right, and one was Zelda and one was Mario. Bring it back. Stick to it. Dark side, light side. Come on.
I love it. And then you showed these goldfish. We got Mandalorian goldfish, and I like that you get a Mando helmet and an Ahsoka shaped, right? That's cool.
Yeah, Max Zandau sent those to me. I think she's eating those right now. I think she bought those at the store, so I think those are actually out.
These are great. And there's the Ahsoka bag versus the Grogu bag. So that's good fun. It's good fun. And I always check my Making Star Wars for news, and I check my Bespin Bulletin for news. Look at that. Bespin's already got the logo on there. Very good. I wanted to ask.
Bespin was messaging me about that to like tell us, but he was also telling me something not to talk about. And I just saw the don't talk about. So I was like, oh, and I didn't understand. So thank you, Bespin, for trying to help us today.
That's good.
But in the end, butt cheeks wins.
Butt cheeks. I know. Every time. So I wanted to ask you, because I chatted with you last week about putting all your leaks into like chronological order for each of the shows.
Do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I got stuff to add into it too that didn't make it into the other reports.
Awesome.
So that way we can. Yeah, that way. I just Mother's Day. I didn't plan on going to Mother's Day yesterday. I thought my kids were gonna go with their mom, and then I was gonna do it then, but didn't get to. Still on the table though.
Very good. I look forward to that. Being able to read the episode synopsis in order. Like this is episode 1 is going to be this, episode 2, and then people be able to read through all the way through the spoilers in like chronological order. All of it's already been released. Like you said, you'll add some.
Not all of it. Little tidbits. Baby tidbits sprinkled throughout.
We get little squirts added.
Little squirts. I'm Jason Ward. I don't leak, I squirt. That is my official saying. So
It is. So we look forward to that. Look forward to that soon. You're doing a show with Sketchy today?
With old Sketchcraft, yeah.
We're going to get Max and another Mohawk sighting.
Probably Max and Mohawk will probably be there, and I'm not positive about this, but our Australian friend
Yeah.
who said that they only had Taco Bill in Australia discovered a Taco Bell has opened up in his area.
Oh, very
I don't know
exciting.
if he had it yet, but he was going to go get some and tell us what it was like to have Taco
Very
Bell
good.
in Australia. It spins the other way and down your esophagus.
Well, I can tell you that Mohawk is one good-looking kitty. He is one handsome boy.
Yeah, a bit arrogant too. He's got a little bit of an attitude.
He certainly does.
But he gives us the leaks, so we go with it.
It is. There we go. Hail lamb head. It's a thing. If you don't know about it, you need to watch more makingstarwars.net.
I wrote the lamb head theme song in about 20 minutes the other day and posted it on the website on YouTube. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. I wanted to make Baymax laugh, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Stop saying squirts. Little squirts sounds worse.
Hi, I'm Little Squirts. What do you want to know about Star Wars? Little Squirts will tell you.
Which reminds me, like last week, Meg was talking about this character that was over in the UK, and then Martin sent. They had a theme park based around this guy. Very creepy dude. I can't remember his name right now, but it was very creepy. No. They'll tell us in the chat. But it's very creepy. Very creepy.
Yeah. I've seen Meg squirt a little, like Masameta. It was like she squirted that the other day. The little squirt. It was good. It was memorable. That's the thing about it that really sticks with me. Is
the way you said that,
Andor, and I just think about
the way you said that.
Yeah, she's great.
I can't.
I mean, what has been cool about the current generation of like Star Wars like reporters or whatever that we have though is like between like Bespin and Meg and myself, we're just kind of giving little squirts everywhere, and those squirts add up to a big puddle. That big puddle really informs us what things are, and that's what matters to me.
It does. Yeah, Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby is disturbing, is what he is.
Okay, I'll look that up. I like dark and disturbing things. That's pretty much what I do for fun.
It is quite disturbing.
Okay.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being here today. I've had fun as usual. And hey, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please do all the things. You know what to do. Do those things. That'd be great. And here at the top of the hour, you'll be able to catch Jason and crew talking about Star Wars. It's a lot of fun, and make sure you do that as well. I had fun covering Meg's article from today. Be sure to catch that. And if you missed the Saturday where she talked about Ezra and Din being brothers, go check that one out too. So you guys have a great day. Thank you for spending time with us. We appreciate it. And until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.
Hot dang! Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa show.
I left out the Mike Porter dad joke. For those of you who have stuck around, what do all the Sith, Dark Lords, dark side users of the Force drink when they are tired and dehydrated? They use Vaderade. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.